Hi, my amazing algebra students. Welcome to our next set of notes. This is notes number 3, where we will talk about distributing and combining like terms. Before we get started, do you guys know how to get straight A's this year in 8th grade? If you did not know, to get the straight A's, you're going to use a ruler. Ha ha ha. And then real quick, what's a pirate's favorite subject? Art. Okay. So moving on to these notes, the keys to success. So these are steps that you want to follow to solve these equations. First, distribute to get rid of parentheses. Then combine like terms. So just like when we were practicing simplifying expressions, remember we would always distribute first, then combine like terms, okay? We want to make sure that all the variables are on one side of the equal sign, all the constant numbers are on the other. Now to achieve this step, we do inverse operations to add or subtract. The very last step is usually multiplication division to get that variable by itself. Lastly, check your solution. This is where a calculator will come very handy. You just substitute it in and solve. Okay, let's go ahead and do this first example. With this first example, we're going to justify our steps as we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to combine like terms since they are on the same side of the equal sign. So 2x plus 7x, we get 9x. We're going to drop down everything else. Now to achieve this step, what we did is we did combine like terms. So let's write that in. Our next step after here, notice that we are at a two-step equation, and so we're going to follow those steps to get the variable by itself. So I'm going to do inverse operations of adding 8 to each side. So the addition property of equality is my justification. And then when we add it up, 19 plus 8 is 27. Our last step here is we'll go ahead and divide each side by 9. This right here is my division property of equality. So, and it looks like I should not have written so big because I'm about to run out of space. My final answer, x equals 3. And so I'm going to box that in so I know it goes with problem number 1. Okay, let's go ahead and practice number 2 now. So for number 2, same thing is I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms first since they're on the same side of the equal sign. When I do that, I get negative 4x plus 2 equals 22. Now from here, this is a two-step equation, 2 steps to get the variable by itself. So I'll go ahead and add 2 to both sides. When I do that, I get negative 4x is equal to 24. Oops. What am I saying? Adding 2 to both sides. Sorry, guys. Subtract 2 from both sides, and then we get 20. Then we'll go ahead and divide both sides by negative 4. X equals negative 5. And I know that if I would have checked my answer, I probably would have found my mistake. Okay, we'll go ahead and do number 3 together. Number 3 gets a little bit bigger and messier, so we'll do that next time I see you in class. Now let's move on to a problem like number 4. So a problem like number 4, we're going to go ahead and distribute first. When I distribute, I'm going to take that 3 and multiply by all the terms inside parentheses. So we get 3x plus 12 equals 48. Tells me to justify my properties. The property that I used here is the distributive property. Now from here, again, I'm at that 2 steps, and I'm going to follow those steps to solve for the variable. So I'll go ahead and start by subtracting 12 from both sides. When I do that, it is 3x is equal to, and when I subtract here, I get 36. And so when I subtracted, that was the subtraction property of equality. Then we'll go ahead and divide each side by 3, and that's my division property of equality. And my last step is my answer, x equals 12. Okay? And that's it for problem number 3. Now let's go ahead and try 5 and 6. So for problem number 5, this again is more distributive first. Again, take that -7, multiply it by all the terms inside parentheses. So we get -7x plus 63 is equal to 84. Now, our goal is to solve for the variable, so we'll go ahead and apply inverse operations. So with inverse operations, we subtract 63 from both sides. We get -7x is equal to a positive 21. My last step here is to divide each side by -7. X is equal to -3. Had to get my eraser marks out of the way. Now for problem number 6, this is the first one where we are going to combine both distributive and combine like terms. So our first step is to distribute. Everything else is going to get copied down. So I get 5x plus 3x plus 12 is equal to 28. Now we combine like terms because again it's on the same side of the equal sign. So it is 8x plus 12 is equal to 28. And now we apply the two-step process to solve for the variable. So inverse, so we'll start by subtracting 12 from both sides. We have 8x is equal to 16. Divide both sides by 8. X is equal to 2. Okay, that's it for the front. Let's go ahead and flip it over to the back. On the back, what I have is problem number 7. Number 7 is similar to what we just did with problem number 6. So let's go ahead and again, we want to make sure we distribute first, then combine like terms. When I do that, it is 22x plus 6x plus 10 is equal to 66. Okay, so that was distributive property. My next step is combine like terms. When I combine all the variables on the same side, I get 28x plus 10x is equal to 66. Again, we are at the two-step to solve for the variable. Okay, so here with this two-step, we apply inverse operation. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10 from each side. I get 28x is equal to 56. Then we divide both sides by 28. I clearly did not give myself enough room on this worksheet. And then we have x equals 2. 56 divided by 28 is 2. And you know what? We'll go ahead and review 8 together next time I see you in class. And then we'll do number 9. So for number 9, we have our first story problem. The three angles of a triangle are represented by the expressions 3x minus 14, x, and x plus 4. Recall that the sum of the angles of a triangle are 180 degrees. Write an equation and solve for each angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to, again, label our variable. X, we'll call x our first angle. Okay. So real quick, we have three angles, though, with the expressions right here. Sum of the angles is 180, and we're going to write an equation and solve for each angle. So that's the thing, we want to make sure we're solving for each angle. So again, I labeled x as the first angle. I'm going to go ahead and label that the second angle is equal to 3x plus minus 14, and then the third angle is x plus 4. Okay, so we're going to have to end up doing that at the end anyway. All right, now on the other side, let's go ahead, create our equation, and solve. So when I do that, I have 3x minus 14. Okay, and I'm just taking these expressions and adding them together since we're trying to find the sum. So 3x minus 14 plus x plus 4, it's telling me that this is a sum. We add them together, and it equals 180 degrees. Okay? When I add this up, 3x plus x, we get a total of 5x. Negative 14 plus 4 is positive 10, equal to 180. Okay, and again, they were all on the same side of the equal sign. We combine like terms. That was our justification. We're at our two-step equation again. That's always, not always, but pretty much most of our goal. And so we just apply inverse operations to solve. So we'll subtract 10 from both sides. We get 5x is equal to 170. Oh, how did I'm double checking my answer with the answer key. So sorry guys. We have a negative 14 plus 4, negative 10. So we're going to add to both sides. And so we get 190. Divide both sides by x. We have x equals 38. Okay. And 38 degrees, I'm going to erase this so I can fit this all up here, is my first angle. When I substitute 38 in for x, multiply by 3 and subtract by 14, I get 100 degrees. And then 38 plus 4 is 42 degrees. To quickly double check my answer, I'm going to add this up. So 38 plus 42, that right there gives me 80. 80 plus 100 is 180. So that's a quick way of checking that I did it correctly, because again, they should add up to 180 degrees. Now I feel like I've made quite a few typos on this notes, and so what I decided to do is we'll go ahead and do 10 next time I see you in class, so you know, no confusions or anything like that. So that's it for these notes. Thanks guys. See you next time in class.